For the Red Sox, number 57.
Braves on top 5-0 as we go to the 7th inning. Another new pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. Ron Mahay will take over. He's a left-hander. And as we go to the 7th, we'll take you the rest of the way. Here's Pete.
Okay, Joan Mayhay's done a good job. It's his 17th game for Jimmy Williams. He's 2-0 with a 235 earned run average, and the American League hitters only hitting 182 against him. And Kenny Lofton leads off here in the 7th. Lofton tonight 1 for 3. Mahay out of Crestwood, Illinois, and there's a strike to Lofton. 0-1.
A lot of folks call him the Mahay kid.
He just converted to pitching last year.
You're kidding.
He had been a minor leaguer for 5 years in the Red Sox organization before becoming a full-time pitcher for the first time last year. Backhanded by Vaughn. Mahay covers at first. 1 gone. He was a 21st pick of the Red Sox, picked in the 18th round back in June of '91, and worked his way all the way up to the major leagues. But I don't see anything listed here as to what position he played. He must have either been a first baseman or an outfielder, being a lefty.
Pretty wild that he made the transition to pitching and rose so quickly to the big leagues after making the switch.
Keith Lockhart tonight has walked, singled, and grounded out. And that's going to be into right field for a base hit. O'Leary will get it back to the infield. And the Braves, who strung together 6 hits in the 6th inning to score 4 times, now have 10 hits on the night off Boston pitching. And Chipper Jones will be the batter. He is 0 for 3 tonight. A ground out to first and a couple of flyouts to center.
Looks like Lockhart's just about 100% finally, Pete, after that pulled muscle in his side. Turned on that ball nicely.
1 man out. Lockhart the runner at first. One ball, no strikes on Chipper Jones. 5-0 Atlanta in the first of 3 here at Fenway Park. Braves' first regular season game here since their last game as a Boston Braves team in September of 1952. They did play an exhibition game here in 1961. Foul back by Chipper. 1 ball, 1 strike. And you go back over the history of the Braves and the Red Sox, and when this ballpark was built, kind of an oddity. Ballpark was built in 1912. The Braves were building a new ballpark in 1914, so the Red Sox let the Braves play here throughout the 1914 season. That was the Miracle Braves team that went on to win the World Series, and they played the World Series home games for the Braves here at Fenway Park in 1914. And then in 1915, Braves Field opened up, a brand new home of the Boston Braves. Well, the Red Sox won the American League pennant that year, and Braves Field had about 15,000 more seats than Fenway did. So the Red Sox asked the Braves, "You mind if we use your ballpark to play our games in the World Series in?" So for 2 years in a row, they were borrowing each other's ballparks to play World Series games in. 2 balls, 2 strikes now on Chipper Jones.
I wonder if that level of cooperation existed for beyond that.
Well, the Jimmy Fund, which is the big charity here that the Red Sox have supported for years, we found out the story on that today. That was begun by the Boston Braves, and then when the Braves left town to Milwaukee, Lou Perini convinced the Red Sox to continue the good work for the charity, and that's become a terrific fundraiser for children here in Boston.
And for years, that was the only sign in this ballpark
Yes, it
of
was.
any kind.
Ted Williams was extremely active with the Jimmy Fund. 2-2 the count on Chipper Jones. 5-0 Atlanta, 7th inning. Strike 3 call. Chipper Jones caught looking. Mahay has his first strikeout. And the batter will be Fred McGriff, who is homered, grounded out to second, and singled tonight. He has scored a couple of runs.
Number 27, the first baseman, Fred McGriff.
With all due respect, Pete, to the new PA announcer here at Fenway Park, not quite the same as coming in here in the days of Shermfeller. I miss him.
He was an institution here at Fenway.
Passed away a couple of years ago.
You know you're an institution when players who love to imitate PA announcers from various ballparks always have their 2 or 3 favorites. And Bob Shepard at Yankee Stadium was always one of them. Shermfeller here at Boston's Fenway Park was another. And I don't even know the guy's name, but the guy that used to do the public address for the San Diego Padres talks so fast.
Oh, right.
John DeMott. He was the other one that was often imitated by the players.
He could reel off the defensive alignment for you in the top of the first inning.
15 seconds.
Yeah, and it always wound it up with that number 11, Enzo Hernandez.
Right. 1-2 now on Fred McGriff. Two outs, runner first. That evens the count of McGriff 2-2. Danny Bautista has moved out on deck. And more activity. Mark Brandenburg up now in the Red Sox bullpen. Into right field. That one may drop and does. Third hit of the night for Fred McGriff, and all 3 have been to right field. So it looks like he's getting his stroke back. And runners are at first and second with 2 outs, and now Bautista will come on to pinch hit for Klesko.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. For Atlanta.
A couple of pitches upstairs for Fred tonight that's allowed him to get out around him, and he hasn't missed them, including the home run, of course. Short, quick stride, kept his hands back, and hit a good fastball.
McGriff at first, Lockhart at second. Now Danny Bautista batting for Ryan Klesko. Bautista 246 on the year, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 3 out of 9 as a pinch hitter. And there's another base hit to left field. Keith Lockhart got a good jump, rounding third, heading home. Cordero's throw will be a little bit late. McGriff all the way around to third. That makes it 6-0 Atlanta. Danny Bautista driving in his 7th run of the year.
And the third hit out of that spot in the batting order. Danny Bautista picked on what looked like a breaking ball that had quite a bit of the plate. And Cordero, the former second baseman, made a good throw, but a little bit off the mark, and Lockhart able to slide in ahead of the throw.
And with Andrew Jones coming to the plate, Jimmy Williams making his way out of the Red Sox dugout. And it looks like we'll get yet another pitching change here for the Red Sox. So Mahay's stay is a short one. Although the call has not yet gone to the bullpen, we'll make sure it's going to here. Andrew Jones, a right-hand hitter, 1 for 3 on the night, due up next. Plate umpire Brian O'Nora now heading out to the mound to try to speed up the decision here. And there's the call to the pen by Jimmy Williams. So Mahay leaves after working 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 1 run. He leaves with runners at the corners and 2 men out. And Mark Brandenburg, the side-arming right-hander, makes his way in for the Red Sox.
He's going to be hiding because I'm going to be looking for signs. But he'll be looking for my signs too. So it'll be fair. But a very special man to me. Gave me an opportunity. I worked with him in Toronto, and certainly be an opportunity to work with him in Atlanta. So very special ball club over there. You know, thinking about the past. But I think,
ladies and gentlemen,
Jimmy Williams has not taken up yodeling, folks. We had an audio problem with our replay of Jimmy's comments on Bobby Cox, who is a man he respects very much, and Jimmy is a man Bobby Cox respects very much. They have a great deal of admiration for one another. And don't be too sure that there isn't a little trickery being employed. I found out after the game last night that in the Houston series, Bobby Cox, who normally gives signs to his catcher, let's say, or relays signs out to his third base coach, Bobby Dews, had a decoy in the dugout doing it last night. One of his players won't tell you which one it was, but he was afraid that his signs might be stolen by Bill Verdon, who's a good sign stealer over on that Houston dugout. So he had one of his players doing the job, and everything he did was just a deke.
I like it.
Here's Andrew Jones, runners first and third with a couple of outs here in the 7th inning. There's a strike to Andrew. Andrew is 1 for 3 on the day. We were talking today to a booster club here in Boston this afternoon, and they were very interested in the progress of Andrew Jones, age 20. And I told them he may be the only player who is totally unaware of the Braves' history here in Boston because of an answer he gave in the World Series last year after hitting those 2 home runs off the Yankees in the first game. Press conference, they asked Andrew at age 19 who his idol was growing up as a youngster, who his baseball idol was. His answer, Ken Griffey Jr.
Not quite.
If that's your historical base, knowing anything about the Boston Braves may be asking a little too much. 1 and 2 to count on Andrew Jones.
Especially playing in Yankee Stadium and all the history that was involved with that place, hitting those 2 homers.
I'm sure Andrew knew all about Fenway Park being the home of the Red Sox, but I wonder, we'll have to check with him after the game, see if he knew that the Braves played here. I'm sure he did because of all the talk about this series, but I wonder if he knew it before that.
I guarantee you he knew it was only 310 feet down the line here.
He knew that. Here's the 1-2. 2 and 2 the count. 6-0 Atlanta. Braves have out-hit the Red Sox 12-3. Brandenburg making his 22nd appearance, 0-1 with a 6.07 ERA in the league, hitting an even, or the American League anyway, hitting an even 300 off him.
A little tough for right-handers to stay in on him. Not only does he throw sidearm, really does it with a delivery to the plate where he opens up real quickly. Steps closer to the first base line than he does toward home plate.
And he chases Bautista back. Mark Brandenburg from Humble, Texas. Went to Humble High School. Been to the University of Houston. Benjamin goes the short route, gets the out at second. And that's all for Atlanta in the 7th, but the Braves pick up another run and head to the bottom half of the 7th, leading at 6-0. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. The sellout crowd here at Fenway up for the 7th inning stretch. And we have a new left fielder. Danny Bautista stays in the game.
The left fielder.
Will Cordero will lead off here in the bottom half of the 7th. He is grounded out to short, popped to short. Up the middle, that'll get through. Base hit center field. And it's only the 4th hit allowed by Smoltz. And it'll bring up Troy O'Leary.
And the boos for Will Cordero quickly turned to cheers as that one got into center field.
O'Leary 0 for 2. He has struck out, fly to center. We have activity in the Atlanta bullpen for the first time tonight. Brad Klontz has begun to loosen up. Inside corner 0-1. Little pop into shallow left center field. Let's see if Blauser or Bautista can get to it. Bautista called off Blauser, and he hurt him. And got out of the way. Danny Bautista makes the grab, 1 down.
We were talking about the
shortstop really appreciates that, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the defensive alignment of the center fielder. You can take that also to the left fielder, who doesn't have to play very deep. Anything hit over his head is ordinarily going to hit off the green monster, so you can take away a lot of line drive hits, and like that, a few bloops too.
1 gone. Now the catcher, Scott Hatteberg, who has walked and struck out. ball, no strikes.
Another play here that the shortstop's got to be heads up on is a line drive down that third base line that might hook into the wall, the padded wall that juts out right down the left field line, because it will carry him off into shallow center, and the shortstop's got to go get it.
Same spot, a little bit deeper. Bautista there for the catch. 2 men gone. And that'll bring up Mike Benjamin, who was a last-minute insert into the Red Sox lineup. John Valentin originally in the lineup. He hurt his wrist in batting practice. And the hot-hitting Valentin had to be scratched. Benjamin a single and a line drive to the shortstop tonight. Fouls the first one back out of play, 0-1. Two more games in this series, and the Braves back home to continue interleague play against the Detroit Tigers on Monday night. That'll be Greg Maddox's next start. Kevin Millwood will pitch here tomorrow against Tim Wakefield. Tom Glavine Sunday night against Steve Avery. And now Bobby Cox jogging out. That usually means he just wants to check and see how his pitcher's feeling.
Well, John was going through some strange gyrations after he made that pitch to Hatteberg. I don't know if he felt a tug somewhere or not, but he was going through more than just his normal loosening of the arm.
Tell you what happens to him sometimes. He was talking about this with me about a week ago. John's double jointed. He's double jointed in his shoulders. And he said every once in a while when he's pitching in a game, it'll just sort of pop out a little bit. And it's not that he feels any pain, it's just kind of an uncomfortable feeling. And that looks like it's acting up on him again. 1 ball, 1 strike. The count on Benjamin.
You can bet Bobby wouldn't leave him in there if he didn't get assurance from John that he was okay.
Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball caught the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Benjamin. Now the 1-2 on the way. Fouled away. Still a ball and 2 strikes on the Red Sox third baseman.
We've been talking about these uniforms. John looks like his name ought to be Old Hoss tonight. Boy, he fits into that.
He's the designated old-time uniform pitcher for the Braves. He was the pitcher in that game when they wore the uniforms from the Negro League days. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called outside corner. That is strikeout number 9 for Smoltz. And after giving up the leadoff single, he gets the next 3 in order. We go to the 8th inning. Still 6-0 Braves.
On the Delta scoreboard tonight, some interleague action for you, and the National League taking it on the chin in Detroit there, as you see. Cleveland on top of the Cubs as well. Montreal on top, though, and they've played real well in interleague play. Mets also winning, shutting out Baltimore. Florida winning at Toronto, shutting out the Blue Jays. No score at Milwaukee. Houston leading the White Sox in the bottom of the 4th. Cincinnati leading Minnesota 3-2, and Kansas City in a matchup of Missouri teams on top. That will not be the last score in that game, I promise.
The Mariners and the Rockies at Coors Field. 1 ball, 1 strike on Javi Lopez. Leading off the 8th. Braves leading at 6-0. Brandenburg, 4th pitcher to work tonight for Boston. He's ahead in the count now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Toward third. Nice pickup by Benjamin. And he throws out Lopez, 1 down.
We were talking about Shermfeller a minute ago, Pete. One night here back in '81, I think, played the longest game, and at that time and I think still is the longest game in Fenway Park history. Played 20 innings, but there is a curfew in the American League, and you cannot start an inning after 1 a.m., so the game was suspended and continued it the next day. But that night at midnight, Schermfeller came on this gravelly voice and said the last train to Worcester or someplace was leaving at midnight for those interested. A couple of minutes later, he came back on. For those people looking for the train from Worcester, it just left.
1 ball, no strikes, and Greg Colburn, he had a big hit in that 4-run 6th inning, a 2-run single. He's 1 for 3 as the Braves DH tonight. Files this one away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Been a good pickup. His 1 for 3 tonight makes him 5 for 13 now. Since the Braves got him from the Minnesota Twins, he's driven in 3 runs. One out, bases empty in the 8th. High and deep to left field. Cordero's going to watch this one go over that green monster. Home run, Greg Colburn. And the Braves now lead it 7-0. His first Atlanta homer.
What a night for Greg Colburn.
3 RBIs.
Three RBIs, base hit, now the home run that he golfs into the screen. And don't forget trying to take out the catcher Hatteberg with a collision at the plate, too. And he went in head first on that collision at the plate. Quite a night.
Greg had 5 home runs while playing with the Minnesota Twins this year. And now he's hit his first in a Braves uniform. 1 ball, 1 strike on Blauser.
Only the 2nd home run allowed by Brandenburg this year in 30 innings.
Upstairs, 2-1. Red Sox have done a terrific job this weekend with all sorts of activities and special functions planned with the Braves returning to the city. Little loop. Vaughn can't quite get up in the air to get that one off his glove and into right field. And Blauser aboard. That'll be a hit, his 2nd hit of the night.
I couldn't tell if Mo jumped off the wrong foot here. Yeah, he did. He came off his left foot. Made it a little bit tougher for him to elevate to try to haul that one in, but he didn't have time to get his feet right. Couldn't quite get it.
So the Braves have broken out in a big way tonight. 7 runs, 13 hits. And with 1 man out, Kenny Lofton the batter. Lofton 1 for 4. He had a single back in the 3rd. He now has a 7-game hitting streak. Slices this one foul. But they have a big function planned here tomorrow night where they've invited back a lot of the former Boston Braves. Johnny Logan, Ernie Johnson. Our own Ernie Johnson will be involved in that. And today they had a function at the Red Sox Booster Club where they had a couple of former Red Sox players, Walt Dropo and Maurice McDermott, who really entertained the crowd. But I found out an interesting story from Walt Dropo, who threw out the first ball tonight, Rookie of the Year in the American League 1950. He played at the University of Connecticut, and their big rival in baseball was Yale. And he said he used to be at first base and get a base hit. He always used to like to chat with the opposing first baseman. Guess who the opposing first baseman was when Walt Dropo was at Connecticut?
George Bush?
George Bush.
How about that?
He said he knew George as a collegian.
Could probably get a real scouting report on George then, couldn't we? Instead of one with some spin on it.
0-2 the count. 1 man gone. Almost hit him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Love hearing the old ball players, though, talk about their days as a player. And Walt Dropo shares the record for the most consecutive hits. He had 12 straight hits. He and Pinky Higgins, who also was a Red Sox, share that major league record, 12 consecutive hits. He remembered all the pitchers he got him off of. Down to right field line by Lofton. That's a fair ball. And is going to rattle around there in the corner. Or did a fan pick it up? If he didn't pick it up, he interfered with it, so it'll be called a ground rule double. And Blauser will have to go back to third.
That's part of the home field advantage right there. If it gets into the corner, it can be a tough play for a right fielder to cut this ball off before it gets down into the deep right field corner. So if the fan plays it, knocks it down, and turns it into a ground rule double, then you save a run. Blauser might have scored.
15 hits now for Atlanta. Keith Lockhart, the batter. He has a pair of hits tonight, 2 singles. He scored 2 runs. Still only 1 out in the inning. Infield in again for the Red Sox. Foul back. But Walt Dropo talking about those 12 consecutive hits. He got them off Vic Raschi of the New York Yankees. He got them off of Walt Masterson of the Washington Senators, Bob Porterfield of the Washington Senators, all pretty good pitchers. And then Lou Slater of the St. Louis Browns stopped him. And he said, the only way I can explain what I did over those 3 days was that I was just in a zone where that ball looked like a basketball coming in. Another base hit off the glove of Vaughn. Picked up by Fry. Still have a chance at first. Nope, they don't get anybody. Another run is in. Lockhart drives in his 26th run of the year, and he's had a 3-hit night. It's 8-0.
What a night for Keith Lockhart, who gets his first start in ages after being on the disabled list. He was used as a pinch hitter a couple of times by Bobby Cox, and quite effectively, and he is obviously feeling good tonight.
Joe Kerrigan back out to the mound. It has been a long time since the Braves have erupted like this. All the way back to July 3rd. And the batter will be Chipper Jones, who is one of the few Braves who hasn't enjoyed being a part of this 16-hit outburst. He's 0 for 4 tonight.
He and Javi, the only guys that have been blank, but there's always at least one guy, so if Chipper gets a hit here, it may hang just on Javi. Have a big night, the team scores a bunch of runs, you get a bunch of hits. There's one guy that's like the designated ofer.
Like that doubleheader the Braves played one year in San Francisco, won both games. Dale Murphy was 0 for 9. Got on the bus after the doubleheader and said, I hope the rest of you guys had a good day today. I sure didn't. Still only 1 out. Braves put together a 6-hit inning in the 6th for 4 runs. They've got 4 hits and 2 runs here in the 8th. Ball 1.
Talking about Walt Dropo, that happened in 1952, and he probably remembers it like it was yesterday.
Very proud of it, and he should be.
Yes.
1 ball, 1 strike. Alvin Dark was also here tonight, representing the Boston Braves. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1948. Part of the first ball ceremonies. Johnny Sain and Tommy Holmes, 2 other former Braves, will be involved in first ball ceremonies the rest of the weekend.
That's great. Leo Mazzoni won't know how to act when Johnny Sain's here.
Here's the 1-1. This low and inside, 2-1. Some of the Red Sox faithful have headed to catch that train to Worcester, Joe.
Yeah.
With the score 8-0. It's a great sports town. Talking to members of the Boston media before the game tonight, they were talking about sports and politics and food and drink are the 4 things that Bostonians and anyone that lives in the Boston area loves to partake in. And especially the professional sports teams here all get very good support. The Celtics and the Patriots and the Bruins and the Red Sox, they are the home teams here in Boston. Chipper Jones beats the Rap at first. Another run is in. They make it 9-0. Give Chipper his 102nd RBI of the year. Lockhart forced at second for out number 2. And now Fred McGriff, who is 3 out of 4. Couple of singles and a home run.
Number 27, the first baseman.
What a good night he has had just swinging the bat.
And all 3 of the hits to right field. And remember all the
Pulling
difficulty
the
he was having getting anything to drop into right field. Anything he was hitting to the right side lately had been a ground ball to second base, but not tonight. 2 line drives and a home run. And another shot down the right field line. This one foul, though. 0-1.
Well, whatever it takes to get him going, that's great. If it's this ballpark where he was a .400 career hitter, so be it. He has had a terrific night. And balls hooked like that down the first base line scare the managers of the Red Sox to death. They don't have a real good perspective on it from their dugout. And as you said, Pete, only 300 feet down the line, you could hook one around the pole easily.
1 ball, 1 strike. This 3-hit performance by McGriff tonight coming on the heels of a 1-for-15 series. So he was due. In for a strike, 1-2.
And that hit came in his last at bat against Houston, so he's got 4 hits in his last 5 at bats. Fred's got a little bit of a Luke Easter look about him tonight in his uni. Great big hitter. Bobby Dews, on the other hand, looks like ready.
Looks like Max Patkin.
A little bit like he's got a little Max Patkin look. He looks like he's ready for bed as well.
Those are the baggiest baseball trousers I've ever seen.
That is a good look, Coach Dews.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Out of play left side, still 1-2.
Bobby's got a knee that's killing him. I mean, he's going to have arthroscopic surgery. That bad of an injury. He's going to have the surgery after the season is over, but he's battling the pain and still out there waving him home.
And he's had a chance to do that on a lot of occasions tonight. 9 runs in. Two and 2 the count.
I can't tell, Pete, if Fred has moved up any closer to the plate. I don't think he has. But the mistakes the Red Sox have made to him tonight have been upstairs and allowing him to turn on the ball a little better.
Another line drive. This one, though, run down by Jeff Fry. And that's all for Atlanta in the 8th inning. 3 more runs on the board, though. It's 9-0 Atlanta as we go to the bottom half of the 8th.
Atlanta now playing.
Got some changes for Atlanta as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning in a game that's been all Braves. Tony Graffinino is the new second baseman for the Braves. Eddie Perez has replaced Fred McGriff at first. And the new pitcher is right-hander Brad Klontz, replacing John Smoltz, who worked 7 scoreless innings, allowing 4 hits, walking 1, striking out 9. You see the numbers on Klontz. He makes his 40th appearance.
Center fielder, Darren Bragg.
And Darren Bragg will lead it off here in the 8th.
Another good night for John Smoltz.
Bragg tonight has struck out and fly to center. And takes outside, ball 1. Talking with Brad after his recall from Richmond, he said that when he was down at Richmond, Bill Fisher, the pitching coach down there, made 1 change with him. And it's the spot on the rubber where he pitches from. Remember when Brad was up earlier this year, he was way over on the first base side of the rubber. Watch where he goes now, almost over to the third base side of the rubber. With a little better angle.
Said Bill tried to instill in him also not to give the hitters too much credit. Throw more strikes.
And there's 1, 1-2.
John Smoltz struck out 9 batters tonight, and he has struck out 9 or more in 8 straight starts. And that's the dominance he enjoyed last year when he won the Cy Young.
2-2, the count in Bragg. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And down on strikes, Darren Bragg. That's
Good
10
pitch.
strikeouts for Braves pitching tonight. The first by Klontz. And back to Nomar Garcia-Parra, who's been the one bright spot for the Red Sox tonight. That infield hit in the third, extending his American League rookie record hitting streak to 30 games. Strikes on Garcia-Parra.
He is loose in the box, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Two and the count. Count now 2-1 on Garcia-Parra, who was a lock to win the Rookie of the Year award in the American League.
Yeah, and his hitting hasn't been just during, he hasn't been hot just during this streak. And I realize it's a month long now, but since the All-Star break, a 359 average.
Outside corner, 2-2. Sharply hit toward short and by Jeff Blauser in the left center field. Second hit of the night for Garcia-Parra. Hit number 5 of the night for the Red Sox.
That ball moved a little bit on Jeff after it hit the dirt. He thought he had it played properly. Went off the edge of his glove.
Jeff Fry.
And that'll bring up Jeff Fry with a runner at first and one down. Fry has struck out twice and fly to center. Those at-bats against John Smoltz.
That was a good swing by Garcia-Parra on a pitch that looked like it was in on him, and he made an adjustment with his hands.
No strikes on Fry.
Watch this rookie hitter pull his hands in to get the head of the bat on this ball. Actually tried to take an inside-out swing on an inside pitch and still hit it very solid.
Here's the 1-0. Right down the middle for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2 now on Fry.
We were talking earlier tonight, Pete, I believe over on the radio side, about how they do a lot here to honor their old teams and members of their old teams. And aren't they doing something like, or this year, or have they already done it for the 67?
Yeah, they're bringing the 1967 American League champions back to Fenway, I think next week. Third time tonight, Fry has gone down swinging. Strikeout number 2 for Klontz. And the batter will be Mo Vaughn.
Yastrzemski won the Triple Crown in '67, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He won. That was the year that the pitching was so dominant in the American League, and Yastrzemski hit just a little over 300.
Right, 301,
the batting title.
Dick Williams, the manager of that ball club.
That was almost like the '91 Braves. I think they had finished 9th the year before, so they had 10 teams in just the one league. There were no divisions back then. 0-1 the count on Mo Vaughn. A double and 2 strikeouts tonight. Nothing in 2.
Interesting watching Mo Vaughn's stance. This is something that you don't normally teach a hitter. It's something that I'm sure he started with and kept it, and that's the way his head tilts. His eyes, as opposed to being horizontal to the ground, are more perpendicular to the ground. His head tilts over so far.
And he's down on strikes. Brad Plott strikes out the side, giving up a base hit in between. 12 strikeouts tonight for Atlanta pitching. We go to the 9th inning with the Braves on top 9-0.
And now, an important message from the Superstation. This is Dumb. And this is Dumber. Goodbye, my love. Dumb and Dumber, coming September 14th, only on the Superstation.
Before we go to the 9th inning, we want to remind you to stay with TBS after the game as Molly Ringwald and John Cryer star in Pretty in Pink on Dinner and a Movie. Tonight, Paul and Annabelle will be preparing Pretty in Pink salmon fillets. Coming up next here on the Superstation.
Now the new pitcher, 36-year-old right-hander Jim Corsi, 35 years old. He'll be 36 next week. He is making his 40th appearance. You see the numbers on Corsi. Spent most of his career with the Oakland A's, a little bit of time with Houston, a little bit of time with the Florida Marlins. Brandenburg worked an inning in the 3rd. Not too effectively. 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned. And Danny Bautista will lead off for Atlanta here in the 9th inning. The Braves, unless they absolutely collapse here in the 9th inning, will hit their high water mark. They'll go to 32 games over 500 for the season. It's the best they've been all year. Bautista, an RBI single, is only at bat back in the 7th.
Danny Bautista.
Just looking to see how many times the Red Sox, with their terrific hitting this year, have been shut out. They have been shut out 4 times this season. The fewest in the American League, though, Anaheim, 3 times.
0-1 on Bautista. Bautista, Andrew Jones, and Javi Lopez due up here in the 9th.
The fewest shutouts in the National League. Might surprise you. 2 teams tied that have been shut out 4 times.
0-2.
One the Braves just played.
Houston, really?
Yeah. And the other team, the San Francisco Giants.
Braves need 3 more outs in the bottom half of this inning to record their 14th shutout of the season.
The Cubs have been shut out more than anyone in the National League. They've been blanked 10 times. The Tigers 10 times in the American League.
Another 0-2 pitch on the way to Bautista. This one misses outside. 1-2. Crowd tonight, 32,577. That's a sellout here at Fenway. And the 1-2 on the way, and it's low and outside. 2-2. As I mentioned, the Braves going for their 14th shutout tonight. To give you an idea how dominant this pitching staff has been in the 90s. The club record for shutouts, 24 back in 1992.
Amazing.
Little tap to third. Benjamin with a long throw. Vaughn, did he dig it out? Yes, he did. 1 gone in the 9th.
Danny Bautista made it close, too, hustling down the line.
He always does.
Number 25.
Now Andrew Jones. Andrew 1 for 4. Had an RBI single back in that 4-run 6th inning. Now has 55 RBIs on the year. High in the air, right center field. O'Leary camps under it, puts it away for out number 2. And that'll bring up Javi Lopez, who is 0 for 4.
Okay, now it's his turn. He can put the onus on Chipper now.
Chipper 0 for 5 tonight, but he does have an RBI. Chipper Jones
Number 8,
does.
the catcher,
Lopez 0 for 4.
Javi
3
Lopez.
groundouts and 1 flyout. That's Kerry Lightenberg out in the Atlanta bullpen. Looks like he'll come on to pitch the 9th inning. Inside corner, 0-1. Florida up now 6-0 over the Toronto Blue Jays in the 7th, so it looks like the 4.5 game spread will remain the same in the National League East.
And it looks like Al Leiter's okay.
Certainly does.
Returning from the disabled list tonight.
1-2 on Lopez. Dribbler down the third base line. It is going to kick foul. And it's still 1-2.
Almost, Bobby. I'm sure that when they were putting these uniforms into order so they'd have them for this ball game, they went to Casey Stevenson and Bill Akery to get the sizes, the uniform sizes for the guys. And if they don't have the specific sizes for the coaches, I'm sure they just kind of guessed. And on Bobby Dews, they probably just went to a 32 parachute.
Let's bring back the regular unis for the rest of the series. What do you say?
You know, Bobby's knee is hurting him bad enough to think about all that wind resistance. Well, that's cruel.
1 ball, 2 strikes. It's 2-2. Let's see. These uniforms the Braves are wearing are from 1912, right?
Uh-huh.
Just looking back to see who was managing back then. Johnny Kling was the manager in 1912.
And the uniforms didn't.
Didn't, right. Full count, 3-2. Well, that just is not a good look, Bobby.
He's going to have to put some... Good thing it wasn't a windy day, that's all. He'd have to put some rocks in his pocket.
Well, there's a walk for Lopez with 2 outs here in the ninth. And the batter will be one of tonight's offensive heroes for Atlanta, Greg Colburn. After grounding out his first 2 times, Colburn a 2-run single in the 6th inning and a solo homer over the green wall in the 8th. Ball 1 inside.
Night like he has had tonight, you go up there thinking there's no way he can get me out. No way he can get a ball by me. I'm sure Fred McGriff felt the same way, even with his last out that he made, hitting the ball hard, but right at the second baseman. Some nights you just feel like there's no way the ball can miss your bat.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. On the outside corner, 2-1. That's exactly what Walt Dropo was talking about today when he had those 12 consecutive hits. He said, I was just in a zone. He said, I just saw the ball. He said, there was nothing special about it. I just saw the ball, hit the ball. 12 straight times. 2-2 on Colburn.
Confidence is a wonderful thing, no matter what you're doing. And you know you can be successful at something, and you just let the physical take over, and you quit thinking about a lot of stuff that complicate it.
9 runs, 16 hits on the night for Atlanta. And despite the breakout of the offense tonight, things could change radically tomorrow. Remember all the trouble the Braves had in the past against Tim Wakefield,
right?
The knuckleballer. He'll be on the mound for the Bo Sox tomorrow.
That's why you've got to be greedy. When you've had a good night like Coburn's already had, you don't know what tomorrow might bring. You better try to get another hit tonight.
Here's the 2-2, and it's way outside, ball 3.
Let me ask you a question, Pete. As good a night as Keith Lockhart's had, 3 hits and 4 trips with a walk, Do you think Bobby might start a platoon situation at second base with he and Graffinino?
Well, he might in Mark Lemke's absence.
I mean, Keith's so valuable off the bench, you hate to lose him there.
Little loop off the handle caught by Jeff Fry at second for out number 3. That'll do it for a line in the 9th inning. We go to the bottom half of the 9th. Kerry Lightenberg will be coming on to try to complete the job started by John Smoltz and Brad Clontz.
Before we get to the bottom half of the 9th inning with the Braves leading 9-0, here's the Braves look ahead. Tomorrow and Sunday, 2 more games here at Fenway Park. We'll have the Tigers series back on the Superstation beginning Monday and Tuesday night. And hope you'll make your plans to be with us then as Interleague play continues.
Rafael Belliard taking over at shortstop as we go to the bottom half of the 9th inning. The new pitcher, right-hander Kerry Lightenberg, making his 4th appearance since coming up from Richmond. He's worked 3 innings, allowed 2 runs and 4 hits, walked 3, and struck out 3. Joe, I was talking with Rafael Belliard before the game tonight. He took a look out at that green monster, and you know how long it's been, 10 years since he's hit a home run. So I went up to Rafi and I said, "What do you think, Rafi?" He looked, and then he looked down the right field line and he said, "About the green monster too high. Should I take a shot down that right field line now if he gets an at bat in this series?" Only 301 feet if you get one right down the line here at Fenway.
It'd be Rafi's luck that he'd hit one on a line to left that would be out of most parks and hit this wall.
And Reggie Jefferson takes a strike from Lightenberg, 0-1. Jefferson 0 for 3. Smoltz worked the first 7, allowed 4 hits, walked 1, struck out 9. Brad Clontz, 1 inning, 1 hit, struck out the side. Now it's 1-1 on Reggie Jefferson. Two and 1. High and deep to left field. That's going to break up the shutout. Reggie Jefferson with his 13th homer of the year. It's now 9-1.
Well, there wasn't much doubt about that, was there?
It's his 13th homer of the year, his 61st RBI, and the Red Sox fans finally have a little something to cheer about.
Fastball away. He took it to the opposite field. Actually, all it saw was an overhead view of the opposite field, landing well up into the net.
Will Cordero around number 1. So the Red Sox, who have only been shut out 4 times this year, at least prevent that here in the 9th inning. Now Troy O'Leary is 0 for 3. Play, 0-2.
I'm anxious to see how Kevin Millwood does on his start tomorrow after going back to Richmond and getting a little work in.
And the little work he got in was very good work.
Excellent.
A couple of complete game victories. There's a line drive in the left field. That's going to drop for a base hit for Troy O'Leary. So 2 hits in the inning off Lightenberg, including the homer. And the batter will be Scott Hatteberg, the catcher.
That looked like a pretty good pitch, too. Reggie Jefferson hit a rocket out of here, but that was a pretty good pitch by Lightenberg, and he fooled him. But O'Leary able to reach out and slap at the left. That pitch was even off the plate a little bit.
He will not be held at first with the big lead for Atlanta. Out of play, 0-1.
They never used to have these so-called luxury boxes that make up the second and somewhat of a third level here behind home plate. They were added about 10 years ago.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And that was about the same time they renovated the press area, too.
And the press area was raised, was it not?
Yes.
That used to be down 1 level lower.
Yes.
1-1. Swung on, missed, 1-2. One man out, runner first. Braves up 9-1 in the bottom of the 9th. Two and two. It's a full count now on Hatterberg. Mike Benjamin on deck.
Leitenberg can fool you sometimes. You think when you get to the plate, maybe he doesn't throw that hard, but he can bust it up there in the mid-90s at time, and he almost clipped Hatterberg with that pitch.
That'll be out of play. Still a 3-2 count on the Red Sox catcher. Left field, going back for it. Bautista makes the catch just shy of the scoreboard out there. That ball was hit hard. 2 men gone.
That was a good play. The warning track in left field here is huge, and it's that way for a reason. It's to let the outfielders know that you're bearing down on that scoreboard and into that wall. But Danny Bautista didn't flinch. He got some help from Kenny Lofton and made a good play.
And now Mike Benjamin with 2 outs in the 9th. Benjamin 1 for 3 in the night. And he takes a strike 0-1. Still 6-0 Florida over Toronto in the 7th. So the Braves will apparently go into tomorrow with that same 4.5 game lead they started the night with. Down the left field line, hooking foul up into the seats. And back out again. 1-2 now on Benjamin. Stays alive, still 1-2. Center field. Bautista on the run for this one. Can't come up with it. Off the wall. Bautista quickly gets it back to the infield. Throw to second. Good play by Bautista there. And they were almost able to gun down Mike Benjamin at second base, but it'll go as a double for the Boston third baseman.
He almost caught this ball. He tried to time his leap just right, and he did, but the ball just barely over his glove. Maybe he did jump a little bit too soon, but what a recovery on the carom off the wall. It's cutoff man, and then Belliard quickly back to Graffinino, but another good defensive play. What was Mike Benjamin holding up for? Thinking he'd caught it, I guess.
Second and third now with 2 outs for Darren Bragg, who has struck out twice and fly to center. 1 ball, no strikes. 8 hits in the game now for the Red Sox. They've gotten 3 of them here in the bottom of the 9th. 7-1 the count. Two men out. Two balls, one strike. That evens the count, 2-2.
One thing to give up a home run in a ball game where the Braves are coasting along, but Kerry'd like to get out of this without allowing any more runs. He's been hit pretty hard, but a strikeout here would make him feel a little better. And of course, Darren Bragg's already fanned twice, so he's trying to avoid the hat trick. So both battling for a little respect here.
Here's the 2-2. Still 2-2.
Well, what are your thoughts on your first trip to Fenway Park? Not your first trip, I should say.
Yeah, I've been here
game.
a couple of times before, but I really enjoy working ballparks like this.
A lot of history here.
And he gets the strikeout. Third time tonight, Bragg is fanned. The Braves return to Boston in a big way, winning the first of 3 from the Red Sox by a final score of 9-1.
And our AutoZone player of the game is Fred McGriff, who had a big night, 3 for 5, had a home run to drive in the Braves' first run of the night, and that was the only run the Braves had until the 6th inning. And it was a high pitch that he pulled right down the right field line, deep into the seats, out near the 380 mark, and that set the stage of things to come for the Braves. Congratulations to Fred. We'll be back to wrap things up at Fenway Park right after this.
All-star MVP Mike Piazza spends 9 innings destroying his hair and 90 seconds bringing it back with Pert Plus. More than a shampoo, it conditions too. How? As you shampoo, the conditioners stay suspended. Then as you rinse, the conditioners go to work, giving you great hair simply. Perfect for Mike, because he wants great hair, but he'd rather be living in it than working on it. Wouldn't you? Pert Plus. Simply great hair. Simply.
There's your line score. The Braves stranded 8 runners. So did the Red Sox. John Smoltz with another good night. Lowers his ERA down to 2.89. In fact, he's lowered it almost a half a point, or half a run, I should say, over his last 8 starts where he's gone 5-1. And now the top 4 starters for the Braves, Pete, in August combined their ERA 1.97. The bats heat up tonight, and look what happened.
9-1, the Braves win it. Our next telecast will be coming your way Monday, 7:35 Eastern Time against the Detroit Tigers. That'll be from Turner Field. Coming up next on the Superstation, it's Dinner and a Movie. Paul and Annabelle will prepare Pretty in Pink salmon fillets tonight for the movie Pretty in Pink, starring Molly Ringwald. Hope you enjoyed the Braves visit to Fenway. We'll see you Monday night. For Joe Simpson, Skip Carey, Don Sutton, our entire TBS crew, Pete Van Wieren from Boston. Good night, everyone.
The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of Turner Sports. In 1998, cable television's exclusive host for the 18th Olympic Winter Games from Nagano, Japan, and the 4th Goodwill Games from New York.
The Superstation presents In the Dugout with Andrew Jones.
That's got a chance to get out of here. Braves winner.
He started 96 in A-ball and finished in Atlanta.
What a blast by Andrew Jones.
And after hitting 2 home runs in the World Series, Jones has proved he belongs in the big leagues.
The Braves thought I was ready, and I thought I was ready too, so I had a chance to come up here.
Leaps against the wall and makes a great catch.
While being compared to Griffey and Clemente, there's no doubt Jones is also headed for stardom.
I just got to feel that I'm going to be great in this game. I hope I'll be a superstar, but I don't think about it.
With his big plays at the plate and in the field, Andrew is making this game look easy.
Home runs is pretty good, but if you play good defense, you win the game, you know.
On comes Jones, diving catch.
That make highlights.
Catch Andrew with the Braves on the Superstation. In the Dugout.
Phil? You know, if I had one of those lawnmowers, I could cut my yard in about 10 minutes instead of half an hour. Where can I get one of those?
They're available.
All right, let's talk about the Eagles, shall we? Because this is a big weekend for football fans in the Delaware Valley. And after listening to Eagle fans all week, I get the feeling most of them will be watching tomorrow's game against the Giants like this. You know, it's like, what are you getting upset about? You're forgetting something. Dave Brown is still the Giants quarterback. Eagles, by the way, today boarded their bus for Jersey. Kicker Chris Bonio there. Bobby Taylor, who might not start but could see some playing time, there he is. Now, while I joked about Dave Brown earlier, Michael Zordic says they must take him seriously.
It's going to be a tough game. Dave Brown looks good. You know, he's standing tall in the pocket and he's moving around a little more. And so it's going to be a tough game for us. It looks like they're getting their act together.
Well, the Eagles kick off their season officially tomorrow, but we've got a preview for you tonight.
Starts here at home. It starts here.
Let's rock from the jet.
Hey, we set the tone. Right here. For the first play, we set the tone. Let's rock this thing, baby. Oh, let's rock this thing.
We're better than we were last season. But, you know, the thing that's going to stop us is ourselves.
There's very few quarterbacks that start the season that finish it and play all 16 games. I think there was maybe one last year. And so you need someone, you know, you need 2 quarterbacks to be able to go through a season.
By the way, those just a few snippets from our Eagles preseason special. It's about time. You can see it right here on Channel 6 coming up, in about 13 minutes from now, so stay tuned. Sticking with the football theme, #1 ranked Penn State opens its college football season next Saturday, right here on Channel 6 against the University of Pittsburgh. That's a 3:30 kickoff, and of course, Will Temple open its season earlier this week, Thursday night, with a 34-14 loss at Western Michigan. Today in Piscataway, New Jersey, Rutgers Scarlet Knights opening their season versus Virginia Tech, and ouch, that's the word of the day. Hokies hooking up with big-time offensive plays. Al Clark tossed 2 touchdowns and took this one the distance for 81 yards. They rolled up a 501 yards in total offense. They win it 59-19, does Virginia Tech. And our first big upset of the college football season takes us to the Carrier Dome. 13th ranked Cuse hosting NC State. It was tied at 24 before Donovan McNabb hit the tight end for that touchdown. 31-24 Syracuse. NC State matches the touchdown effort. Tremaine Stevens on the 1-yard run. Only difference is the Wolfpack gambled, and they went for the 2-point conversion. Jamie Barnett to Torrey Holt. Whoa, 32-31 State in the big upset. And in the game just seen here on Channel 6, 14th ranked Miami barreled over Baylor 45-14. Edgar and James replaced injured Darrell McMillan. He scored 3 touchdowns and rushed for 120 yards as Miami, as said, wins it 45-14. Only 2 of the top 25 games complete this afternoon. 6th ranked Nebraska rolling over the Zips of Akron, and Alabama gets by Houston 42-17. Should be an interesting one at Tiger Stadium tonight as the Phils continue their interleague play against Detroit. Left-hander Matt Beach gets the start for the Phils opposite Scott Sanders for the Tigers. You see, both pitchers have a combined earned run average of 11.6. Yeah, last night in the opener of the series, nice defensive effort coming up here by third baseman Scott Rowland. But then again, certainly nothing new. He's been doing it all year long. But the big problem again for the Phils, lack of runs. Bottom of the 4th, Travis Fryman lists one to Tony Barron, and Barron, no, they said he didn't get it. 2-zip Detroit. Then it was Brian Hunter with the RBI double. Bubba Trammell to score, and result, Phils lose this one 7-2. Meanwhile, this afternoon at Fenway Park,
An outstanding.
Boston Red Sox hosting Fred McGriff, who was Mac Marvelous. A pair of singles and count them, two homers as the Braves tomahawk the Sox 15-2. As a result, Atlanta has now outscored Sox 24-3 in the last 2 days. That, by the way, is Boston rookie Nomar Garcia-Parra, who ended his hitting streak going 0 for 3. And yes, Rob, Atlanta they're wearing their Boston Braves uniforms today. I'm glad you picked up on that. Checking today's other interleague action, let's check the scoreboard. It was Cleveland falling to Chicago, New York Mets 13, Baltimore 6. Elsewhere, Montreal over the Yanks, Florida 3 runs better than Toronto, Los Angeles all over Seattle, and San Francisco over Anaheim 7-3. Well, given the age of many of today's tennis superstars, 26-year-old Pete Sampras must feel ancient. But Sam certainly doesn't play that way. Today, the top seed and defending U.S. Open champ breezing through his third-round match against Alex, I don't know, how do you say that, Rob? Radulescu. Very good. Took the words right out of my mouth. 6-3, 6-4, 6-4. Yes, that was a 150-mile-an-hour serve. Sampras in his search of his 11th Grand Slam title. Meanwhile, on the ladies' side, it was top seed teenage sensation Martina Hingis. She moved into the women's field of 16 with her victory, and I'm not even going to pronounce that one, okay? And I'm not going to make you do it either.
Thank you.
When the folks in the NBA front offices got together to plan this year's fledgling WNBA, they projected the 8-team league would draw about 5,000 to 6,000 fans a game. Well, they greatly underestimated their numbers. Some teams this year reporting crowds in the double-digit thousands. As a matter of fact, 16,000 on hand for today's inaugural WNBA championship at the Summit in Houston. Comets hosted the New York Liberty, and Cynthia Cooper inside for 2, and she wants to raise the roof. She's pretty strong because she'll raise the roof all night long for 25 points. You get the idea. The Comets win the inaugural WNBA championship. Cynthia Cooper scores 25 to win the MVP award. Here's a golf trivia question for you. Name the golf course where Tiger Woods made his professional debut. It's all right. I really didn't know either until about 20 minutes ago when I read it. But the answer is Brown Deer Park Golf Course in Green Bay Packers country, the site of this weekend's Greater Milwaukee Open. And there is a two-way tie for the lead heading into tomorrow's final round. Fulton Allen with the nice approach shot here to the par 3 14th. This is within a birdie putt distance, which he did. He's at 13 under. He is tied with David Sutherland, who had a chance to take sole possession of the lead, but pulled a Phil Andrews and pulled his putt to the left. He is at 13 under also.